Coming up, stories we're connecting you with tonight ahead of this Halloween weekend. We'll help get you in the mood for ghosts and goblins with a visit to some spooky area cemeteries for a lesson in local history.
And they're pretty remarkable because at that point, they put a lot of information, even to the point of explaining to the reader not only who the person was, but how they passed.
We explored the traditions behind a local celebration of Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead.
In a very literal sense, Dia de los Muertos is the return of your loved one's spirits back to the earthly realm.
And we'll take a trip to the Berkshires for a Halloween pumpkin display like you've never seen before.
It's wonderful. They have pumpkins and chrysanthemums, all fall colors. It's gorgeous, and they're all through the grounds.
We'll bring you those stories and more as we explore the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England, up next on Connecting Point.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for Connecting Point. I'm Saidalis Bauer. For the third straight year, the famed Stockbridge estate, known as Namkeg, has been transformed into a Halloween oasis. For the month of October, the trustees of reservations decorate the half-mile trail on this hillside property with flowers, lights, and over 1,000 carved pumpkins to give visitors the ultimate New England Halloween experience known as the incredible Namkeg Pumpkin Show. The event is sold out for this year, but have no fear, Connecting Point's Brian Sullivan managed to get a ticket and takes us there.
It's early afternoon in late October on the 8-acre property in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, known as Namkeg. Right now, aside from the staff putting on some finishing touches for the pumpkin display, or some hanging carved jack-o'-lanterns gently blowing in the breeze, all is quiet on this palatial estate. But even for neighbors who've lived close by for decades, the scenery here is still something to behold.
This is a place, it's so beautiful that, for a French person, you must understand that we have magnificent castles, but we necessarily don't have such space. It's amazing.
It doesn't take long, though, for that silent serenity to be replaced by the sounds of parents and children making their way along these pumpkin-decorated paths. This is, after all, the third annual incredible Namkeg Pumpkin Show, this year featuring over 1,500 hand-carved pumpkins. And while the carvings of Star Wars characters and a witch's cauldron that boils over with smoke-filled bubbles may be a big draw for the little ones, I suspect it doesn't take a lot of arm twisting to get the adults to come out this way.
It's wonderful. They have pumpkins and chrysanthemums, all fall colors. It's gorgeous, and they're all through the grounds, and they have extraordinary lighting.
My first trek along the trails was during the daylight hours, so I still had a little time to soak in the natural beauty of this display before they turned on that extraordinary lighting.
What I like is the obvious Halloween spirit here, but there's also a real fall vibe going on, and because of this location, there's definitely an old New England feel to this place. As a first-time visitor, I can understand why tickets sold out so quickly.
As day turns to night, the transformation from New England autumn walk through the woods to the coolest trick-or-treating trail ever begins to take shape. That one-time seemingly harmless kettle blowing out bubbles earlier in the day has suddenly turned itself into something resembling a volcano by night. The very welcoming Chinese garden by day becomes a Gothic playground as the daylight fades. And none of this is by accident.
It's kind of two different experiences here, right? We have our daytime experience, which we have a lot more younger families coming to, so they can see it in the day, get their kids home in bed before the sun goes down. So we try to decorate that with a lot of horticulture, fall decoration, pumpkins, gourds, and then the lights go out and you can't see as much of that, but then you really get to enjoy the element of the lights that we hang around the property as well.
From across the farmland, we can see cars lining up to turn down the long driveway to 5 Prospect Hill Road. The erstwhile property of Joseph and Caroline Choate has now become something of a destination spot for visitors from near and far for several events throughout the year. For the month of October, it turns itself into a sort of Halloween wonderland. And that's thanks in no small part to the tireless efforts put forth by the trustees.
Every year we try to make it bigger, better, make it feel fresh and new for the people who are returning. And if you're coming here for the first time, we want you to take away that Naumkeag and the trustees is a place that you can come for fun, family entertainment, no matter what the season.
Every Friday night, Connecting Point explores the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. But it doesn't stop there. You can find us online anytime for exclusive features and content. With the celebration of Halloween this weekend, we turn to tales of things that go bump in the night, stories of the supernatural, the mysterious, and the unexplained. And with so much history in our area, there are many places with dark pasts and scary stories attached to them. One such place is Old Newgate Prison in East Granby, Connecticut, and we explore some of the history and rumored supernatural happenings there in this digital exclusive.
David Humphreys and William Crawford thought they had found their way out. Only in their case, the tunnel collapsed on them. And as the prison keeper, John Veets, said at the time, no one knew then and no one knows today whether or not they're still there.
Don't miss this digital exclusive, as well as more stories celebrating the Halloween season, available online right now at nepm.org/connectingpoint. Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is a holiday with indigenous roots that originated several thousand years ago in what is now Mexico and Central America, and is celebrated the day after Halloween. One of the traditions involved the formation of an ofrenda, where community members can welcome back the souls of their loved ones who have passed. In honor of Dia de los Muertos, 2 local communities have organized ofrendas, or altars, that will be open to the public from October 30th to November 3rd. This year marks the 3rd annual Holyoke Community Ofrenda, located at the Baustein Building on Main Street, and East Hampton's 1st annual Ofrenda, located in Arrow Gallery on Pleasant Street. I spoke to one of the organizers to learn more about the holiday and why it was important for them to organize these community altars.
Dia de los Muertos primarily is a holiday that originated in southern Mexico amongst particular indigenous groups there. It was a very local holiday. There's actually multiple days. It's Dias de los Muertos. It usually begins on the midnight of the 28th with Dia de los Angelitos, or Day of the Little Angels. It's for children who had lost their lives. And then it moves into All Souls Day, and then finally, Dia de los Muertos proper.
One of the pivotal traditions of the holiday is the ofrenda. Can you explain what an ofrenda is and what it entails?
So an ofrenda translated means offering. And I have our ofrenda for East Hampton behind me. This is kind of the center point of the holiday. And it's one of the reasons that we have chose to do a community ofrenda versus a Day of the Dead celebration, because we really want to honor what this is. And the ofrenda is the altar that you are putting up to your loved ones who have passed on. In a very literal sense, Dia de los Muertos is the return of your loved one's spirits back to the earthly realm. They literally come and visit you, and they come and into your household, and they commune with you. And so the ofrenda, the offering, is to them. It is to your loved ones. It is normally 3 levels. It usually starts with the base level, which is sustenance, because we believe that in the afterlife there's no food, there's no water, so there's a bowl of water to help quench their thirst. The next level would be the things that they enjoyed about the world, toys. There's usually a little bit of booze, some tobacco, all of those things that they would enjoy and that they would love to see. And then on the top level is their photograph to remind them that we haven't forgotten them, and so they can find their way. So it's a way to have the people that you love come back and be a part of them, and you remember the things that they loved and the things that they maybe didn't love, and you remember all of them as a person, and you get to be with them for a couple days.
This is technically the 3rd annual ofrenda in Holyoke, and the 1st annual ofrenda happening in East Hampton. How are these ofrendas available to the public?
The Holyoke Community Ofrenda is available 24 hours a day. It is located at the Baustein Building. You'll go around the back of 532 Main Street anytime, day or night. You'll find the Ofrenda. You'll find it decorated and set up. So it 24 hours a day through November 3rd. For the East Hampton, for the first one, for the one behind me, it will be open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Really starting tomorrow through November 3rd. You will be able to come to the Eastworks building at 116 Pleasant Street. We are in suite 244.
Looking through all of the pictures from last year and everybody just submitting the photos of their loved ones that they have lost, and as you were saying, the offerings, how does it make you feel as a Chicano starting to celebrate Dia de los Muertos later on, but how does it make you feel to see the community come together and just be able to offer them a space for that remembrance and life?
It honestly is the most fulfilling thing as a community arts and engagement person I think I've ever done. It really, truly, I can't begin to describe how meaningful it is. There was one individual in particular, they had shared a photo last year of their child who passed away, and I didn't know whose child it was. And so I come from, there were 7 Gomez women that my grandmother's, there were 7 of them. And so I just kind of put this child with my people because I was like, hey, you guys like babies, look after her. And I was telling this individual as I was walking them to the Ofrenda about this child and about, how I didn't know whose people it was. So I put him with my people, and the young woman I was with broke down crying because it was hers. And, we had a long conversation about how no one's really gone and how we're all kind of connected. And it was one of the most meaningful moments of my artistic life. And, I will do this forever as long as I possibly can, just based on the joy that one moment brought.
Now, you touched on briefly about the commercialization
Yes.
of the holiday and that appropriation. There's a fine line between appreciation and appropriation. What do you hope the broader community takes away from these ofrendas?
I really truly hope that they understand that this is, to some members of our community, this is a religious experience. This is a spiritual experience. To other members of our community, this is a political action, and to yet other members of our community, this is a deeply important cultural action that they are taking, maybe for the first time. And to be respectful of that, and to understand that this isn't an aesthetic. This isn't a look that's being put on. This is a practice that has a history dating back tens of thousands of years, and that we should, you're welcome to engage. We're inviting you in, but be respectful. This isn't an alternative to Halloween. This is a holiday in and of itself that's celebrated by many, many, many people in many different ways. It's also a joyous experience. You have some joy. It's supposed to be fun. It's a different look at death. But I say to everyone, just remember that culture is never an aesthetic. It's never a costume to be worn. It is something to be engaged with and learned from.
For some, a walk through a cemetery surrounded by the dead might seem creepy and scary, but for others, it may be a peaceful and spiritual experience. Whatever the reason, cemeteries and burying grounds naturally take on an increased interest as Halloween approaches. A visit to one can not only help you get in the mood for ghosts and goblins, but can also provide a great deal of historical information. And in honor of the spooky season, producer Dave Frazier visited 2 of the oldest final resting places in the area to learn more about the history and the mystery of these special places.
Halloween is a time when we sort of dare ourselves to think about death. We dare ourselves to to think about the mechanisms of death, the meaning of death.
It was different back then. So the English settlers were Puritans, and they believed in predestination. So when you're dead, you're dead. Your body's just a husk. The burying ground is located at the end of Albany Road in the village of what is now called Old Deerfield. Places to bury the dead were called burying yards, burying grounds, burying places. The word cemetery comes into use in the 19th century because it means a place of sleeping or a place of rest. The Puritans didn't have that belief in the 18th century. Grave markers range in date from the late 1600s to the early 1800s, and they change over time. The earliest graves were probably marked with field stones or wooden markers, and those have since all withered away. And there are about 266 stones, 265 stones that are remaining in the burying ground. The oldest one is dated 1695. There are many stories of the old buildings being haunted in the village of Old Deerfield, including the Deerfield Inn. There's a few people, resident ghosts, who are very friendly in the inn. The burying ground doesn't have so many stories about hauntings or spookiness, but recently there were people there at 4 in the morning doing an investigation, so who knows?
This is the beautiful Springfield Cemetery, which was opened in 1841. And at that point, it was considered what they called as a rural cemetery, because none of the houses, none of these buildings existed at that time. Whereas some people see this as a peaceful park, other people see this as a repository for the remains of literally hundreds of people from an almost 200-year span. And that's a tad frightening for some folks. This was obviously a place that denoted a certain level of success if you were buried here in Springfield Cemetery. If you served in Congress representing Springfield, there's a good chance from the 1800s you're buried here. The most prominent person, or the person they may have heard of the most, would be Thornton Burgess, the author, the children's author and naturalist, and he's buried here. If you come up to the cemetery, you come up the hill and you're close to Pine Street, that's where you're going to see this whole group of stones that date from the 1700s. And they're pretty remarkable because at that point, they put a lot of information, even to the point of explaining to the reader not only who the person was, but how they passed. Now they misspelled preaching. They forgot the E, so you see they added the E there. And I thought, when I first saw this, I'm thinking, I hope they got a discount. You know, they screwed up. But I understand typos. If you're involved in any sort of local history, if you're curious about where your community came from, visit a cemetery like this. Walk around, take a look, read some of the epitaphs. And it doesn't matter if you're doing this in Springfield, or if you're doing this in Westfield, or if you're doing this in whatever community, older community here in the Valley that's got some history. I just find it to be a fascinating exercise. This is still a place that people come to walk in, and they come to think in, and they come to just enjoy a quiet moment. It may have nothing to do with who is buried here, or that they're coming to visit a particular grave. It's all about the peace that actually this place represents.
The spooky season is upon us, and the Springfield Museums have a collection of true stories and tall tales just in time for Halloween. With the formation of the museums dating back to the 1800s, there is no shortage of interesting facts, well-documented history, and some fun tall tales with a little embellishment thrown in for good measure. I spoke with Jenny Powers, Family Engagement Coordinator at the Springfield Museums, to hear some of the most interesting stories that the Springfield Quadrangle has to offer.
our visitors have always been fascinated by these old buildings and by the ghosts that may inhabit them, especially the George Walter Vincent Smith Art Museum, because the founders are actually interred, cremated and interred in the walls. And so we've seen that a lot of other museums and attractions have had good luck with spooky stories, and we wanted to give it a try on our own. We're in a unique place where we could blend real history with these fantastic stories as well.
In the quadrangle, there are 5 different museums on campus. What are some of the interesting facts that accompany each building?
Well, one of the buildings that we have on our campus isn't currently used as a museum, but it's the oldest one here. It was built in 1839, and that house belonged to someone who at one point was the oldest living person in Springfield, Elijah Blake, and he was the father of the Springfield Fire Department. He was so zealous about fighting fires that when one broke out, he would frequently go up to the roof of a neighboring house so he could shout orders down to that bucket brigade.
Now, everybody loves a good ghost story, especially me during Halloween time. Share with me some of the more mysterious stories that you have heard about happening at the Springfield Quadrangle.
Well, I can tell you that myself, working in the oldest building here, I do hear footsteps every single day when there's no one there. And also I sit right next to the Arts of the Islamic World Gallery. And when I have been 100% sure that I am alone in the building, I have heard voices right on the other side of the door next to me.
And you, as you've mentioned, have witnessed some unnatural and different types of things happening at the quadrangle. But I also understand that you even spent nights there with ghost hunters. Talk to me about those experiences and how was it spending the night after hours in the Springfield museums?
So we've done that in the George Walter Vincent Smith Art Museum 3 times. The ghost hunters bring a lot of different equipment, so it takes a lot just to get ready. They also bring psychics with them or people who are sensitive, as well as motion cameras and GoPros and iPads that do all kinds of special things to try to detect ghosts. I have always felt a special presence with us here in this building. This couple loved their collection so much and they wanted to share it so much that I think that's the presence we feel. However, it's been pretty funny to see one of the ghost detectors come on suddenly, change different colors, and one of our security guards jump halfway across the room. It was very interesting to see the different kinds of things that the ghost hunters connected to perceiving ghosts. Some of the things I think were interesting types of science, and some of them were a little less believable to me.
Yeah, and speaking about that little less believable, what are tales without a little bit of embellishment, some fun embellishment, right? And the fun part of this is that you have to kind of weed out the fact from fiction. And is it fiction, right? We will never know. So talk to me a little bit about some of the tall tales that are shared within some of your favorite tall tales as well. And are they even tall tales?
Well, one story that I especially loved went back to that Blake house. And the story was about Mr. Blake being very upset that there had been a rash of burglaries in the area. And he had all the churches ring their bells on the same day and brought all the city people down and arranged them and said, listen, enough is enough. We cannot let this go on anymore. These burglars are terrorizing our neighborhoods. So he assembled a posse and brought them out to where they believed robbers were hiding out in a cave near what was a campground at the time. And the head leader of the gang came out, Mr. Stevenson, and he walked up and held a gun to Mr. Blake's head and said, leave. Mr. Blake was undeterred. He grabbed the gun, he tackled the man and wrestled him to the ground. And then that man and one other were both arrested, brought back to Springfield, charged with 7 indictments and sentenced to life in prison. That is one of my favorite tall tales that is actually true. I have another tall tale that is actually true. I don't think we can celebrate Halloween at all without talking about the king of spooky himself, Mr. Vincent Price. Well, Vincent Price actually donated a 17th century Italian drawing to Springfield Museums that is still in our collection. He was friends with a former curator and donated a double-sided red chalk drawing to the collections. Obviously works on paper, have to rest quite a bit, so it's not on exhibit right now, but it's really cool to know that's there.
What do you think it is about storytelling that people connect with so much? And what do you hope they take away from these interesting facts about the Springfield museums?
There are plenty of fun facts, but when they're not part of a larger narrative, they just don't stick in the same way. When you build in more details, it becomes more memorable and it's easier to learn. So that's why we do focus on telling a lot of different stories at the Springfield Quadrangle, whichever program it might be. As far as the program, I think this is something that just captures people's imagination. It brings them almost out of reality and into a world of fantasy that we can enjoy while learning at the same time.
That does it for Connecting Point for October 29th, 2021. Remember, you can always find the stories that you saw tonight, as well as exclusive features, digital-only content, and more online anytime at nepm.org/connectingpoint. And please be sure to join us again next Friday night at 6, right here on New England Public Media, for more stories of the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. I'm Saivalis Bauer. Thanks for watching and have a happy Halloween this weekend.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers.